When I walked into the locker room before the match, I said, we're not playing USF. We're playing the next team on the schedule. We're not playing for the war on I-4. That's just a trophy that's been made up to generate excitement. We're not worried about that. We're worried about the next hurdle in the road. That's it. And it happens to be USF in this case. I thought the team responded well to that, not getting wrapped up in the emotion of this rivalry between us and USF. I was really happy with how we handled it coming out of the locker room. I was really happy with how we sustained it. I was really happy with how we dug ourselves out of a hole when we found ourselves getting a little bit behind the 8 ball. And I'll tell you what really warms my heart is, to hear McKenna talk and saying a lot of the things that we talk about every single day. And you guys know in here, it's a lot of the same things that I say. And that means we've got a program message, and that it's very consistent all the way through. So right now, we know what needs to be done. USF was just the hurdle to go forward. Now we have another hurdle here in a couple days with Temple coming in, and really all the focus has to be on them. I know that there's other things out there. I know there's 2 more matches that are big next week, but I don't even want to address them. I just want to I want to focus on Temple and how do we get out of the weekend with another win.
You talked last week about how USF, because of its status as a rivalry game, could be known as a trap game. How would you say the team avoided the pitfalls that come with such games?
By saying it wasn't USF, by literally going through this belief in your mind that it's just another team on the other side of the net, not assigning them a value or a name or anything like that. The same thing we used when we played Miami and Florida State and Penn State. Just forget who it is and just play the team across the net. And yes, I do worry about these being a trap game because USF won a conference match in their last outing, and they want more. Once you get the taste of that blood, you want more. And we didn't want to be their next victim, and we wanted to go out. We wanted to put our best foot forward. And looking at the numbers offensively, we most certainly did that. Blocking wise, we did that. Digging wise, we outdug them. So I would say we did what we set to do in the first couple days of the week.
Coach, in the matchup, obviously, your attacks by each set, obviously, you went from 68% in the first, 81% in the second, third in the 70% in the third set. Would you say overall that throughout the season, is it a companion trend that you guys want to consistently play better over the percentages, or you just focus on?
When you look out the side out percentage, our goal is between 63 and 64. We want to side out when they're serving. We want to score about 63, 64% of the time. Mm-hmm. You do that puts you in a good position to only have to serve in like the 36, 37 range, which is really low. We're up in the upper 40s right now. But you look at the side out numbers, 11 out of 16, 13 out of 16, 12 out of 17. Can't get any more consistent than that. The low errors. We had no errors in the first set, and then 3 in the second, 3 in the third. I'll take 6 errors in 3 sets any day of the week, hitting 419, 42 kills. I can't ask anything more from our players than to do that.
Absolutely.
Coach, 12 straight win, 10 of those as sweeps. What do you think is the key to your success and why you're clicking so well right now?
I'd love to give you the secret magic, but I'd have to kill you. No. I don't know. There's been years where we've played 5, 10 times and won half of them. This just seems to be the year that, somehow we find a way to come back and win 3-0. We've been up, finished 3-0. We've been down, we finished 3-0. That's just the way it is. Now, it's not going to be that way as we go forward, and I know that. But it's nice to have a team that just senses that they've got their foot on the neck of their opponent and they step. And I think that's what this team is doing, is they may have a little bobble here and there, but when they have their opponents against the cage, they make them tap out. And I really like that.
McKenna Melville got 21 kills tonight. Put an ace on top of that with 6 digs. Obviously, talking about McKenna is kind of a broken record at this point. But what would you say about her performance tonight?
Yeah, broken record. I hope to talk about for a long time still, to be seen. It was a situation where we thought, again, same as Memphis, we thought we were going to have to sacrifice McKenna. But USF came out in 3 different starting rotations, so it changed the matchups 3 different times. And each of the times she had a pretty positive matchup. They really were worried about Claudia. There's a lot of holding of their middle blocker on Claudia or going with her on the slide. And that opened up both outsides, both Tolly and McKenna, to have great matches. And McKenna's going to get a lot more swings by nature of what rotation we start in. We've been starting in this rotation 5, which puts McKenna left front and brings her across the front row. So she's got 7 or 8 swings before anybody else gets swings. And so not as many swings as we want her to take, but we just decided to stick with that rotation 5 because it was comfortable. And our defense and serving was clicking in rotation 6 and 1. So we were setting ourselves up to have 3 pretty good rotations to start off.
Coach, your mentality of just focusing on just that one game at a time mentality, I mean, it's got you guys obviously on this win streak. Would you say that it's not even just focusing on the win streak, it's just continuing to focus on that one game at a time? Continuing.
If you told me 10 or 11 or 12, how many is it?
12.
12. I'd have no idea. I honest to God would have no idea. I didn't even know who we beat last week, to be honest. I knew Memphis was just so close to today. That's how I remember them. I don't know who else we played. I mean, we're really trying to practice what we preach in this mindset of what's in front of us right now. And so 12, I guess that's great. I'm more interested in putting ourselves in the position every practice, every minute, every point, every set, putting ourselves in the position of achieving our goals. We're not there yet. So the process continues until we are there.
So you kind of touched on this during the last question I asked you, but what would you say is different about this team compared to the ones you've coached in the past?
It's a good question. I think each team has its own highlights. Each team is a little bit different. You remember them for different things. This team I remember as being clutch. They were clutch early in the year. They were clutch against some really good teams, top 5 teams. And then we get into season. I mean, with the exception of the Houston match where we lost in 5, played terribly. They've been clutch. And so this team has a confidence about them, willing to assert themselves against their opponents, fearless. We've had other teams that have that, but very few had all of it. And that's what I think is special about this team, is by virtue of their experience and by virtue of the success that they've had, I think they've got a lot of things that can be very beneficial as we move forward.
Speaking of clutch, Caitlin Grimes had quite the clutch save there tonight. Obviously, she's getting some more reps at libero. How would you say she has been her performance tonight, and how would you evaluate her time as?
She struggled early. She hadn't done that. This is her 4th match now that we've started her, and defensively, she's just a gem. She is a gem defensively. And her serve receive doesn't usually struggle. It did early. She got aced, I think, 3 out of her first 4 balls or something like that. But after that, she was clutch. And she settled down and just played. I mean, I can't say enough, jive about what Caitlin and Chloe have done for us this year in the backcourt. They're the ones, when we start in that rotation 5, it allows them to be on the floor quickly together, and having that much, I guess, firepower at the passing and defensive position, it makes it a little bit tough for opponents to score. So, I can't say enough about the 2 of them. Caitlin, yes, has come in and she sees the opportunity right now. But again, like I said before, it's nice to have 2 high-level liberos, and it's really nice to have them as freshmen and sophomores.
Coach, obviously McKenna was the star of the show, but also Tali Marmon and Claudia Dillon also helped out, being second and third in kills and things like that. I mean, obviously tonight, I mean, you have also Amber Olsen who had 35 assists. Who would you say personally tonight was like almost an unsung hero other than some of those guys?
That's a great question. Wow, that's a really good question. I would say, you know who doesn't ever get the credit that she really does deserve is Amber Olsen, the setter. You know, seeing that the opponents are going to shut down Anne-Marie and they're going to shut down Claudia. We're not going to have that side of the net, and then finding a new way to distribute the ball to somebody in the right spot at the right time, not trapping them, not setting them into a double block. That takes skill, that takes practice. I mean, that's something that we work on 20 minutes every single day before practice, is just learning how to read the block and try to get a one-on-one, or get gap at least. If we get the middle to hold for long enough, it's going to be, you know, 1-on-1.5 on the outside. And she has done a fantastic job of that, especially in the last, you know, half the season. So I would say Amber really is the unsung hero.
You talked about how clutch this team is, but when you look across, you have Amber Olsen, of course, who may be an unsung hero, but she is now among the top 5 all time in assists. You have Narissa Moravak and Anne-Marie Watson, 2 of the top 3 blockers, and then of course you have McKenna Melville in the picture as well, with in both kills and digs. What is it about this team? You talked about clutch, but just as far as like these specific group of people together, like what is about this group of people that's kind of different from other teams you may have had?
It's interesting that you talk about Amber is so high in assists because she's been running a 6'2" her whole career. And so she's only getting half the sets. Somebody else was getting the other half. So that she's already that high and she's only been playing half the time, that's a pretty impressive stat. What is it about the team? You know, they've grown up together. A lot of these players have been playing together for 4 years. You know, and that's what you want. You want that many people who know each other so well. And they have that opportunity to play together and play off of each other. And they really love playing together. They really enjoy taking the floor together. And I think that bubbles out in, you know, their excitement for each other when somebody does something cool. It bubbles out when somebody makes a great save. You know, it bubbles out when we win because they know they all were there for each other. And I think that's really what, in volleyball, that's what you have to be. There's no, an individual player cannot win a match. You know, we've seen that in the past with teams, you know, who have very prolific scorers, but you can't win with just one. So we need more than that. We've got to have 3, 4, or 5 on any given night.
Coach, what would you say offensively or defensively you guys have to improve on tonight in order to get ready for Temple on?
Give me 10 pages of notebook paper and I'll write it down for you. No, I still think there's a lot of things, and I'm not kidding when I say that. We can be a better blocking team. Even though we're one of the top 10 or something like that in the country, we can line up better, we can press better, we can not let balls get through our hands. There was 6, 7 more blocks out there for us to have. That's why you see some matches we'll get 16, 17, 18 blocks. It's because we were doing it right. You know, still 3 blocks a set that's restaurant quality right there. And we got it again tonight, but we are really capable of maybe 4. And that would lead the nation in that if we did that. It's out there for us.
4 night blocks, that's something that helps wins games.
Yeah, no doubt. 4 a set. What that does is that takes so much pressure off your defense, because your defense isn't just constantly being bombarded with rocket shots. So we may not get the stuff block. We may put it back on their side, leaving them with nothing to swing at. Or they may go off the top of our block and somebody in the back row just comes along and sweeps it up and we run a free ball offense off of it. So when we're blocking well, you see it in the offense. You know, we're running easy plays at the opponents.
Okay.
You talked about how this team could be a better blocking team, and I know we talked about Narissa Moravik last game, but she got 5 block assists tonight, And looking at her stats, she is about to do what her teammate Anne Marie Watson did earlier in the season and pass Tyra Harper in career block assist to get second. I know you kind of talked about how you're really proud of how she's been doing,
Yeah.
but as she starts approaching Tyra on there, can you just kind of talk about how you've seen her grow, and
Sure.
what do you like about it?
Tyra's the standard, she's, we've had a lot of good players come through here from the inception of the program in the 80s, but Tyra, seems to be, as you talk to the generations, Tyra seems to be the standard. And now that we're starting to approach some of her numbers, that's got to be something pretty special. That means we're doing something right. Narissa is okay with not having to be the lead attacker. She's all right with that. She's plenty satisfied going out and breaking records as the best blocker ever. That's really what she wants to do. If she can get some kills here and there, great, And she did tonight. She got 3 in her 6 attempts, hit 500. That's a good night. But she takes so much pride in how she blocks and how she sequences and how she makes those around her better and how she makes it easier for the back row. And, it really takes an unselfish person to go out there and say, my job is to block, especially when you want to score. Everybody wants to score, And she says, no, this is what I'll do. I'll do this part, you guys take care of the other part. That's really an unselfish, and we got a lot of unselfish on this team. And that's something that makes them special too.
Coach, would you say from the beginning of the season to the end as the season's coming to wind down, do you feel like the energy that this team is still characteristic can help you guys, not only in terms of tournament play down the line, but also just overall continuing to compete into next season as well?
Yeah, that's a great observation. There's not many teams that get into November and still have energy. Now, through taking care of themselves, through shortening practices, through limiting jumps and swings, we've tried to keep them healthy. But I'm telling you, if you come watch practice every day, it's just like that in practice. So we're playing 4 matches a week. And both sides, doesn't matter if starter, not starter, we mix things up sometimes. Doesn't matter. Everybody's expected to bring it. That's the culture. That's the peer pressure, is to bring it. The only way we get better is you bring it. And I am still amazed, even in our serve and pass tonight, just serve and pass practice, right? We had unbelievable energy. And that's what gets you through the dark moments, is that energy and belief in each other. And really what they're doing is they're just playing for each other. They don't want to let each other down. They love each other too much.
Talking about energy, the crowd was giving that off tonight. You mentioned last week how a unique part about the venue compared to the arenas that other volleyball teams play in is that while 500 in arenas is dead, 500 here is essentially rocking. Well,
yeah.
According to attendance numbers, we had 823
Yeah.
people in the venue tonight.
And judging from looking at the seats, there's actually more than that in attendance. Probably were closer to 900, 950, I think. This can be a special place. I mean, this venue has all the tools to be a special home court advantage. You go and you look back in the history of a program over the last 10 years and how many losses we've had in there, I bet you it's not even 10. I don't know for sure, but that feels what it would be like to me. We've always done really well at home because the fans are on top of the floor, they're in your ear, and you hear them cheering for you by name, and the opponents hear them giving them the Razzies by their name too. So this is it's just a special place. I mean, this is a place that can really do some special things, especially when you have the band and the fans and the cheer. You have all that in place, and it's a true college sports environment.
I'm good.
All right, so Going up against Temple, I want to first touch on the fact that, of course, it's senior day, last home game of the season. You mentioned yesterday how Moravec and Watson will be leaving after this year because their eligibility is up. You also have a couple of other seniors that are not really sure yet what to do with their extra COVID year, like McKenna, Amber Olsen, and we talked about how historic this team has been. So I guess how would you say you're kind of approaching with senior day and with everyone?
Senior day is our day to celebrate those that gave so much. You look at Kat Westlich, probably one of the most unselfish players I've ever coached. 3-year starter. We always bring in talent, and we happen to get a pretty talented Claudia Dillon come in. Narissa's practically leading the country in blocking, so she's not coming off the floor. And Westlich just comes in every day, does her job. Helps everybody get better, tries to get better herself, is ready when we need her. And that is as unselfish of an athlete as you could ever ask for. She has 1 year of eligibility, and I'm telling you, somebody that I want her to have a chance to play. We'll have Amari coming off of medical redshirt, and I want to make sure Kat gets a chance to play somewhere. I didn't expect that it was going to be a situation where she didn't get to play much this year. So I want her to have that COVID year where she can play and make a difference somewhere. So we're doing everything we can to help her find a place that she fits in, where she can go shine like we know she can. Narissa, like I said, over time her role has changed, and she stopped thinking like that scoring middle, started thinking like that defensive middle, and embrace that role. I mean, these are kids that won 3 championships, have a chance to win a 4th, and that's all you could ask for. Amber, came in her sister's shadow. Ran a 6'2" with her for a couple of years, but when we decided that we had better ball control running a 5'1", it really gave us a better option to run our offense. And so we had to drop the 6'2" to do it because we just don't have enough subs. Amber really embraced that role, scoring with dumps at the right, good slam dunks at just the right time, keep everybody honest, distributing the ball, making it less likely for an error to take place. And then, what do you say about Melville? She'll go down in history as one of the best, if not the best, that's ever come through here. So, Tolly came in at a late juncture, and she really has battled some injury things, but she's gone out there tough every single day. She's a tough kid. And, she goes out there and she just sneaks in a few points here and there. You look down at the sheet, she hit 400 with 7 kills. When'd she do that, But she just quietly goes about her job, gets a couple big blocks, scores her 2 a set, and does her job, And then you look at Watson. Watson has been arguably the best right side in the country now for at least 2 years, maybe longer. Shut down blocker, whip of an arm. She can hit you from so many different angles. We loved it. She didn't get as many kills as she wanted, but she sucked the entire defense over to her side, which left it open for everybody else. They were just playing target practice with the floor. And unselfish like that. Okay, I'll block, I'll suck the block up, and you go score. That's the way she is. So, Anne-Marie, Kat, McKenna, Tolly, Narissa, and Amber. That's most of them have been together for such a long time, and it's just been such a special group to work with.
So now, as far as on the court against Temple, obviously played against them earlier in the season. So what are some of the challenges with the Temple Owls? And is there anything from the last game that they played that you're hoping they either take with them or not do in the game on Friday?
I would really love to give you a cerebral, intelligent answer. We played them more than a week ago, so I don't even remember. I don't. I remember us going down there. I remember we had success. I'll go up and I'll, tomorrow I'll probably, or the next day I'll go in and start looking for notes, watching the film again. What did we do that worked well? What didn't work so well? What do we need to change? What lineups do we need to make sure we get? What matchups? I'm just gonna enjoy this one tonight, and I've got some time tomorrow that I'm gonna start really focusing on them. But other than just putting our basic game sheets together, there hasn't been a real game plan put together yet. Coaches are doing that right now, and we'll combine it all together tomorrow and present it to the team in the afternoon, and then go out and play on Friday.
Thanks, Coach.
All right?
Thank you, Coach.